What's good with your family? It's your man sliding in here on you once again. Want to tap in with you and touch on this subject a little bit. A deleted man don't talk, from Mr. Willie D of the Ghetto Boys. Guess I'm showing my age right here. But this is channel. The brother be putting on some of his subjects. Well, actually, he tap in on that man work. That man work. He tap in on a lot of subjects. And some of the things that he state, I don't necessarily agree with, but once I listen to him, I can see the logic in some of the things that he's saying. Well, actually, a lot of things that he's saying. It's just how he arrived at them. I'm not exactly sure, but it's interesting for conversation. It's a very interesting conversation, and he actually be spot on about quite a bit of stuff. Just his deliverance is just, I guess, just a little different than what I would maybe deliver it. But nevertheless, I check a lot of this stuff out. And also, we're going to check out a couple more clips from Valuetainment. It's like a mega channel over here. Now, Willie D doing his thing. He got over 1 million, but these jokers got like 6-7 million subscribers over there. And they hit hard. They hit hard. I think it's Pat. I always mess his name up. Pat. But just check him out, Valuetainment over there. Really good stuff. Stephen A. be on there a lot. It'd be, he actually had Roland Martin whack self over there and some of that. But he has really good stuff. Really good stuff. But we're going to check out some clips from both of these places today. And we're going to examine this whole subject of the thing that happened with the FBI with Patel, and I forget the other gentleman's name, used to be over at Fox News, that investigated the whole Epstein suicide thing that went on, and basically the conclusion that they arrived at. I'm going to give you a few different perspectives, and as always, I'm going to tap in at the end as we go, but at the end, I'll let you know what I think. So we're going to slide on this first clip.
What's up, family? The question of whether pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was murdered or committed suicide in prison has finally been put to bed. Allegedly. FBI Director Kash Patel and his Deputy Director Dan Bongino set for an interview Saturday on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures and set the record straight on the issue of whether Epstein took his own life or was killed behind bars at NYC's Metropolitan Correctional Center in 2019. During the wide-ranging discussion, the host asked Patel, "You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it." Patel didn't skip a beat. He said he worked as a public defender, prosecutor, and had seen firsthand MCC's special housing unit where Epstein died, so he knows a suicide when he sees one.
These two gentlemen been dropped into a relatively difficult situation with investigating that whole case of the suicide with the epilator. I don't envy them. I don't envy them for a lot of reasons, because I know sometimes you can enter a situation with the best intentions, and sometimes you can't unsee what you've sown. And some scenarios that you enter, you inherit certain relationships that you neither wanted to have inherited, or it comes along with the job description, so to speak. And I think this is a difficult position that these two gentlemen find themselves in. And we're going to slide on this next clip. I don't want to go too far too fast so we can get on deeper into it. But check it out.
Yet, many people didn't believe that Epstein hanged himself in a cell while awaiting trial in August of 2019 for sex trafficking minors. So why was Epstein murdered? Why did he commit suicide? Yeah, he committed suicide. Why would he commit suicide? I'm just I'm just throwing it out there because, Epstein, by all accounts, was a narcissist. Do you know why narcissists typically don't kill themselves? Because they think they can outsmart everyone, including the authorities, who have staff on duty 24 hours a day. They think they're smarter than everybody. And then when you consider that narcissist is a billionaire, now you're talking about somebody who think they're smarter than everybody and got paper.
Willie D, for some reason, always like to emphasize if somebody's a billionaire and they have paper. And no insult to the brother, but sometimes I wonder, does he understand that, as we say, and I'm sure he would recognize, there's levels to this shit. And as you get older, you learn that money can't get you in a whole lot of doors. So if they can't get you into the doors, what makes you think they can get you out of the doors? And he also goes on to speak of the narcissistic behavior of narcissists. And where I do agree with him on that, again, there's level of narcissism. And even a narcissist can be realistic in knowing that his narcissism may not reach certain levels. But we're going to slide on the next one because I'm arriving at a number of points.
I'm talking about got unlimited money to buy his way out of any jam he's ever put into. We live in a capitalistic society. Say what you want, but this is not a moral society. This is a capitalistic society. Money comes first in this country, above everything. Money, money, money. That's why so many people kill their own family members. They kill their wife, they kill their husband, their children, their mama, their daddy for that money, man. They'll stab their best friend in the back for that money. They'll sell their ass, literally, for money. Yeah. So money can get you out of any jam you're in. When somebody say it can't, they lying.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it can't. And according to the brother Willie D, he say, I will be one of them. I guess I will be one of them individuals that falls up under the column of lying. Let's entertain an idea too. He put the emphasis on money, saying that we live in a capitalistic society. Everybody's not subject to capitalism. There are people that play on a whole nother level. There are certain fraternities and old families that's not subject to capitalism at all, because they play in the range of monopolies. They're not subject to loss at all. In a capitalistic society, you can gain it all, a lot or all, and lose it all with no time, in no time. But these particular fraternities and families have monopolies. They don't lose. Only the average, according to where they at, lose. They don't lose. Now, speaking to his point about the billionaire thing and having money and all that, okay, your money can buy you out of a nice amount of things. But what happens if, referring to him saying anyone that said you can't, they're lying. What happens if you are dealing with someone that decides that them coming to against you is for the purpose of robbing you? Yes, That happens. That's why you find your super wealthy in this country find offshore accounts and all of those things. Okay? So how good is your money, as he stated, going to serve you, or the purpose your money will serve you for protecting you when the people that are targeting you plan to rob and liquidate you? Just something to think about. Let's slide.
I don't believe Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. The upside of living was just too great. Remember, the man lived on an island. He's used to moving around. He don't have to live in the U.S. He could have took off at any point after he beat, the trial. He could have took off at any point and went to live somewhere else. He didn't have to subject himself to all of these stares and rumors and innuendos. No. Simple, fam. That little black book with all of those names of the rich and powerful, including Donald Trump, your president. Yeah. You didn't know? Family. The list is rather impressive.
Now, the thing about Willie D that you have to be careful with, Willie D will lead you one way with his rhetoric and then switch the game up on you and head the other direction. And this is one of them cases where he does that. And one thing that makes me a fan of what he does. Let's unpack this before we go further. He speaks about the epilator being able to change his environment at will if he were to be accused of certain things that was less than becoming of what he would like to be thought of. Let's just be honest. We wouldn't have never heard of the epilator unless this was a situation. Because the epilator played in rare air. So I would like to eliminate that from the epilator's mind and what somebody thinks. Because what somebody thinks amongst the, for lack of choice of better description, the common or commoners, that would not matter to him. Because this man was dealing within the elites and then the historic or ancient elites. He didn't care what the average people thought. It didn't matter. That's one. Then he stated about the Black Book. Now, I did a video a while ago, maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, talking about and drawing a correlation between Epstein, Bin Laden, and Chapo. And the correlation I draw at that time was stating how when the West goes after somebody or something, it gives it a face. And then when I proceeded past that point, I spoke to what I believe that the West was to target with the R. Kellys, the Diddy's, and so on. And then I pointed to people that Diddy was like a poor man's epilator. The epilator played at a whole nother level, but Diddy was below that, trapping the next tier of individuals. And when this first thing happened to Diddy, not to make it all about Diddy, I was thinking that what happened with the epilator would happen with Diddy. But we see that that didn't happen. So the epilator had a black book, and he had a list, as Willie D referred to. But the epilator's list and black book was for different purposes than what Diddy's black book or little book was. The epilator felt, because of the individuals that he was dealing with, allegedly, that he was protected at all costs. And oftentimes people that aren't of our persuasion, and in most cases, don't worry about stuff like that because they know they can get back. So he didn't prepare himself in the way that Diddy did. Diddy put together a black book in the way that someone would put a black book together that's building a case, within my opinion. But let's not stop there. Let's move on to get deeper into the subject.
We're talking about state senators, congressmen and women. We're talking about generals, prosecutors. We're talking about congressmen and women, presidents, kings, queens, CEOs and COOs of Fortune 500 companies. I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein pissed off, but it was somebody extremely powerful.
Now, to me, listening to Willie D, and this ain't about Willie D, just having a conversation, because I really like his stuff, so I don't want nobody to get what I'm saying or get it misconstrued, because I really like his stuff. So, for the record, when Willie D describes the senators, the congressmen, the this, the that, the presidents, to me, he's commingling a number of societies that really don't go together. You have your senators and congressmen, okay. But when you get to your president, that's another tier. And then when you get to kings, queens, and certain levels of CEOs, the certain levels of CEOs will put you here. I would argue above a president. And when you get to kings and queens, you're getting to a level of, I hate to beat the dead horse, even if the dead horse deserves it, a level of sovereignty that are not subject to the jurisdiction of laws. You can Google that. Can a sovereign be charged in a court of law? And they'll tell you no. Okay. And I believe that's what Epstein had his problem at. Because Epstein ended up being the only witness that could possibly finger certain levels of people. And for those institutions, that just couldn't happen. So it could be Epulator pissing someone off, which I don't believe that was it. I believe you had somebody in some infighting that may have been going on with some ancient or elite families on a global scale. And to try to target those families, they set him up, because all the stuff we going through now, as of late and back then, is all about leverage. Because as in the Diddy trial, along with the Epulator, that they say deleted itself, no one still knows what any of those lists are, and no one still knows who was involved. Somebody knows. I'm just saying. So I don't believe the Epulator pissed anyone off. I believe the Epulator just got caught in the middle of some high stakes poker or chess, And the higher you go, a queen or a king or a bishop can become a pawn. And I think that's what the epulator became. It got so high that he became a pawn. To where before he was able to push pieces, he found himself in a situation where his piece was being pushed. If you get what I'm saying. But we're going to move on.
Anything that has to do with the Epstein, I don't even know what the hell to believe from anybody anymore. And to be honest with you, killed himself, whatever. I don't, at this point.
86'd himself.
Exactly, thank you. I don't care. Do you know what I care about? Ghislaine Maxwell and all the people that she knows and all the customers and all the by the way, tens of thousands of hours of Epstein and his people having sex with underage children. Where are I want arrests. I want those people. I think everybody out there wants to know who are the people that were there. If Ghislaine Maxwell is in jail for selling and sex trafficking girls, human beings, where are the customers? You can't arrest Tom for being a drug kingpin and no other arrests are made. It doesn't make any sense. This I don't care about.
The reference on valuetainment, because there's valuetainment our clips here, the reference that I believe his name Vinny made toward Tom, that you can arrest a person that's dealing with substance without. And I think that's the perfect example for anyone to really understand what's going on. Look at cases dealing with substance. And as referred to Tom as a kingpin without having, but what Vinny don't know is that's exactly what happens. That's exactly what happens. When I got locked up as a kingpin, but I would say a level higher than that because I was an international narco trading between countries. Me and my right-hand man, I call him left-hand man majority of the time, we were the only ones locked up. They didn't take none of my crew. I made sure they didn't. They only take pieces that they want. And they leave the other pieces. Because at the end of the day, whoever narrates the story is the one that decides what's told and what's not. And understand, there's a lot of stuff in my story dealing with the people that I dealt with. And shameless plug, my book is right here on Amazon. Right here. Different volumes. It's on ebook as well as audio and a hard copy. You can find my story on Connect Podcast. I think it's like close to 1 million views at this point. But let me get on back to the subject. So he spoke about the young lady Maxwell and all that they want to see the people that were abusing the children and all that. You'll never see them. You'll never see them. And he don't understand because that's how that goes. They hold that information for in case they need something or they need to get an agreement or they need to get. That's how that game goes. That's exactly how this particular game goes. You know, but let's slide on the next subject.
It's either they realize they need that to be able to control assets. Other people are holding the people in the White House hostage, or they're just telling the truth.
Yep.
And you have to believe it. And the last one is the fact that they may have given him weapons and said, kill yourself. So forever they could say he killed himself to categorically make it right that they're not lying. But he didn't kill himself. You know, it's a different kind of a situation, you know, that he was in.
This is what I believe happened, what he just stated there. But he first spoke about leverage on the White House, leverage on this, leverage. It was all about leveraging. The epilator found himself in a situation, like I said, found himself on somebody else's chessboard when he had his own chessboard. And he was pushing the pieces. But he found himself on a higher level, because like I said, there's levels to this. And on that higher board, he was a piece that may have been a queen, a bishop, or a king on his board. But when he got on that higher board, he turned into a pawn. So instead of him pushing pieces, he ended up being a piece being pushed. And he was a piece that was sacrificed in somebody else's game to try to screw or get leverage on somebody else. Now, I was locked up when I seen this, and was the front page somewhere, the USA Today, I believe. Or was it Economist? Anyway, where they were stating that Bill Barr, the Attorney General at that time, actually visited the prison or the holding facility where he was being held at. Now, there's arguments that came out later saying that wasn't true. I don't know if it was or if it's not. But I do believe that somebody pulled up on him. And I don't know if you guys ever heard about it. I think it's in Japan or some of them ancient Japanese or Chinese societies, to where they will come to warriors or certain royalty or nobility and say, listen, you've been dishonored. You've dishonored yourself and your family. We're going to give you the opportunity to do the right thing. And they'll leave a little something there for them that they could take. Or in most cases, they just explain the situation, lead them there with a sword or whatever. And hey, so they could go with honor. Epstein, I don't believe, had any children. Nobody talks about Epstein's family. So in my mind, Epstein should have been really concerned about himself, with no ties to anyone or anybody that could be concerned about you or even check on you and see if you're all right, to make a little bit of noise, anything. Because the epilator just disappeared. You ain't heard about with him, what happened with him. You heard about his family or nothing. Perfect candidate for that position, huh? So I believe somebody had a conversation and says, here go a few items. You need to do the honors. Because if not, it's not going to be good for you. Good at all. If you dig what I'm saying. And it was all about leverage. But I'm sure the people that dealt with the epilator probably liked them a lot, because they was all super freaks anyway. As I say, super freaks. But at the end of the day, certain people can't go down. And you serve an institution. And before the institution go, you go. You did. Got one more clip for y'all, and I'm going to get out your way.
Dan Bongino and Cash Patel. The energy was very different pre-getting in the job.
Yes, sir.
Versus once they got the job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either they find out who's holding who hostage. It's either they put stuff in.
So as he stated there, I believe Cash Patel and his deputy partner told the truth. Because whether you're saying that somebody talked to the epilator and say, hey, buddy, you better do the honors, or whatever, or as the old folks say, whatsoever the case may be. If he did that, which I believe he did, they wouldn't be lying. They just ain't describing the circumstances of what they felt got him to that point. And as to say, as you get older and start to do some big deals here, there, or whatever the case, you always hear this term, well, the devil is always in the details. In this particular case here, the devil is surely in the details. But as Pat Davis, I believe Pat Davis, I messed it. I got to get his name up. Hope he don't get offended if he even look. He got some. I'm sure he won't even look at this. But as he stated, this was about leverage. And sometimes, as I begin this ep with saying, sometimes you want a job real bad, you just can't wait, and then you get in, you be like, oh my God. That pause was for this next statement that I'm gonna make as I close. You learn the higher you go that the things that you believe run parallel to each other, they actually intersect at the top. And you learn to not see certain things that you see, because there's a statement. There's certain things that's just above your pay grade. And you learn to stay within your pay grade. But as always, give me a thumbs up. Give me some follows, subscriptions, wherever you're looking at me at. And I'm your boy, trying to fuck with you every chance I get. Hopefully you'll continue to chop it up with me. But I can't end this but only one way. As I always state, don't trip, kinfolk, because we got next. Deuces.